mean, it's also difficult, right? Where a lot of players on teams like Legion, you're talking about players that, in a lot of cases, were just barely away from making things like Overwatch League, whereas you have a lot of players here where even if you have a veteran like Harb, right, you have also players that are still sort of getting accustomed to the rigors of higher-end competitive play. But we're going to get straight into it. Both teams end out here in a 3-3.
3-3 for both teams. Watching them just sort of trade. There's the bubbles out onto Umte. Gig taking a lot of damage. Bubble onto Gig as well. Neither bubble for either team right now. It's great boot from OG.
Lots of pressure moving in right now, and Contendies going to lose Buck immediately, and Bermuda starting out a little bit better, and it was Buck that got poked down really heavily to start things out. He had the back off, and it just completely shifted the pressure between both teams.
I mean, Buck did get a lot of poke, but a huge portion of that as well was the damage onto Gig and the boop from OG, moving Gig out of the way, moving in a position where he could take a lot more damage, and also his shield wasn't in place for Contendies. So important, these Lucio boops in these fights.
Bermuda going to be holding back a little bit here. Umte holding on to the Earth Shatter. Bermuda rotating around. Earth Shatter going to take down Suppose, and immediately man advantage here, the Bermuda. And Contendies in a rough spot here. Gig eating a lot of damage. Bubble coming out, just barely able to save him. But again, it just saves him for a little bit of a time. It still doesn't heal him up. And Bermuda, they just wait, they go in, they finish the fight.
Umte should not have been able to do anything in the position he was at. He was completely split from the rest of Bermuda. He was on the outside, not close to the point. His shield was up, and he was allowed to shatter and kill Suppose from the poke damage. That's simply unacceptable if I'm Contendies.
The positioning for Contendies has been very, very rough here so far, but moving to the next fight, Harb can have a grab up to start things out here. Goes for the grab around the outside. Gonna pull them in, force out the Transcendence. Contendies will make something happen. Gig dropping the Shatter. Not a whole lot coming from that. Bermuda waiting to go back in. Umte in heavy danger here. Low HP, gonna get taken down. Contendies able to rotate on and deal with him. The problem is here is that Contendies, they invest the beats late into the fight.
Very questionable choice there. Guru so low, discorded, going down, and now it's just clean up for Contendies. They're on the point. Harb Blue is full energy, and that's gonna be that.
So I was going to say they've invested a lot into this fight already, but at least they still have the beat. And they use the beat at the very end of the fight. They heavily overinvest here to take this, and sure, they're going to flip things over, but it makes things very tough for them going to the next fight.
And the best part for that fight for Contendies is that they traded grabs with Guru on Bermuda, but in return, Harblue, because of how long that fight lasted, all the health given to him from OG's beat means he has another grab for this fight.
Harb, we'll see how he's going to set this up here. Looking for a way. Umte immediately drops in, drops a Shatter, and Suppose out of the fight immediately. Grab going to be coming in from Harb. Contendies looking to bring it back. Gig landing the charge right after. Self-destruct into the sky. Not going to get exactly what Bermuda was looking for. Still 5-on-5 here. Buck mid-rally. Contendies coming back in. Gig under a bit of pressure as they charge forward, but being equalized. Bermuda, though, builds a Transcendence mid-fight. Now pushing back the other way. Buck going to get taken down, and the Transcendence mid-fight working out very well for Bermuda.
I mean, no support ults for Contendies. As I say that, Suppose picking up ultimate weapon. He has the Trans. Umte should go down very soon. This will be Contendies winning this engagement.
Very back and forth for both teams. Just when you think Bermuda's potentially going to bring it back, a Transcendence coming up from Suppose just in the nick of time, and Contendies now have their chance to bring this back, where Harb has done very well at building up grabs fight after fight for the last few fights.
Realistically, Bermuda should have won that fight a lot earlier, but Buck's rally, keeping Contendies in the fight, the sustain, allowing Suppose to come back in, get the Trance, and allow Contendies to push back in.
Bermuda on top. Guru gonna open up with the grab here. Contendies stuck in it, and Buck and Gig just immediately down. No real answer they had for it. Barrier just in the nick of time for Bermuda. Gonna heal them up here. Self-destruct coming over. Not gonna be enough, and Bermuda going to be decisive here as they move in. The problem that they have is that they've had to invest a decent amount here, and they still have to win at least one more fight.
Well, Bermuda are still in a very good position, though. They're going to have the Diva Bomb. They're going to have two support ults, have Umte's Shatter. Contendies, if anything, I think overcommitted to that fight. Using the grab after two while already down, and then investing the Diva Bomb as well.
Bermuda, Shu gonna be coming in from the back, forcing out the barrier early here from Contendies. Transcends out for Bermuda. Both teams investing support ults. Gig dropping the hammer. Gonna knock a few down for Bermuda, but no fall through it after. OG, though, getting caught on the other side. Bucky will chase him down. Buck with two. And suddenly, Contendies working their way through, and Bermuda just nothing left in the tank. This is looking like Contendies should be able to flip this back.
This is the fight win for Contendies, but there's still one more contest able for Bermuda to do. They have the grab. There are no support ults at all. OG has to live. He does. Bermuda still have a chance to come back in, use this grab to win. Contendies needs to stop them from getting the point.
Well, they need to stop them from getting the point, or at the very least, Salty needs to eat this Grav. This is a make or break moment here for D.Va. You
OG's
can't
on the
deal with
point.
the Grav in any other way. Overtime in progress. They're back capping it while the fight's going on. Graviton got connect from Guru. Buck is down. There is no response to the Grav. Harblu gets a Grav a little bit later in the fight, only going to be getting OG. And as a result, Bermuda now going to rotate back.
It was pizza given.
Both supports it out. Yeah, there's no more healing left for Bermuda here. Suppose going up wild on the other side. In Bermuda, after getting an advantage, it starts flipping back the other way. Umte holding the shield in the corner, getting very rough for him. And Chicken Contendies on the verge of holding on.
That was incredible. They sent Shu to the point, not OG. OG was in the fight. But then while that's happened, they put out Guru's Grab early in the fight. They get the picks. But because Salty survives long enough while contesting to get the bomb, and Harblu is an incredible amount of energy, uses Grab, gets a pick, and allows his team to come back into the fight. Harblu was never dealt with. There was no support to lie for Bermuda, and Harblu did so much.
Well, I think that's also just a general theme of what we saw there. Harblu doing so much where it was a little bit of a slow start, but once Chicken Contendies got first control, you saw Harb basically building a Grav every fight. And I think it was a twofold process, right? One was that Harb in general was playing well, but also I don't think Bermuda was really pressuring him much in that entire time.
Bermuda's not punishing Suppose enough either. Suppose getting a little bit too much value as well in the end of that fight. But really it came down to the fact that Bermuda just could not focus his frags, could not get Harblu out of the fight fast enough, and trading in that situation means that it's actually better for Contenders.
Both teams deciding to go for the white room here. This is going to be fast and dirty. Chicken Contendies eating a lot of poke damage early on the fight. Salty going to get demac'd, and Bermuda just winning the early engage. Both teams run at each other, and Bermuda just does more.
Yeah, much better engage for Bermuda. Picking up those frags, great pressure. Getting the demac onto Salty early means that Bermuda can do so much more damage in that enclosed space. Their spam's not going to be eaten by the Matrix. A lot of value for Guru as well, since he's now ahead in the Grav. Now Bermuda controlling first.
Here, just looking for a little bit of damage from afar here. 74 energy. Chicken Contendies, again, going to be challenging White Room directly in Bermuda. But here's the problem. Bermuda, they have the rally. They can open up here. And again, an advantage that can let them just run at Chicken Contendies to a degree. But Chicken Contendies, they build up around their own, but it's a little bit later in the fight. Gig has already taken a lot of damage. They can't immediately rush in off that. Gig, though, dropping the hammer, getting Umte down to the ground, forces out the bubble, but finds OG at the charge. Grab out of the fight, and they were looking for that for Guru, and just Salty denying it.
Wow, that was the hugest play by Shu, or not by Shu, by Salty, I should say, because the Grab could have turned that fight around completely, despite Gig's opening shatter. The Eat denies the high energy Zarya, denies the Grab cleanup. Huge play from Salty.
And I think you could almost argue that it was the shatter that set up the Eat there, where when people are on the ground, what's that going to do to the other side? You go, okay, I need the equalizer, so I'm going to go for a grab, but it also makes it pretty predictable.
It does make it predictable. I think that was just a solid read overall from Salty, though. Now, here comes Bermuda coming back from the bridge. They're on the point, looking to contest. They're trying to set up anything.
Harb dropping in the grab, self-destructing for Bermuda, trying to buy a little bit of space. Transcendence also invested. Harb down, was in the fray of things, ends up blowing himself up in melee. Man advantage here, the Bermuda, as they move in. OG holding on to the barrier in reserve. They shouldn't need to use the barrier here. And Chicken Contendies is going to be giving this up.
Zolik trying to leave. She'll be going down soon. Salty still going to be contesting the point, just giving his life, obviously. Not going to be using bomb. And now Contendies, after trading the Grav, they're still in a pretty good position here. The time banks are equalized. However, Bermuda coming up on that Grav soon.
46-40 between both teams right now. Bermuda, the advantage of just being able to hold back, see where Chicken Contendies moves in. Guru, Graviton going to be up, should be able to use it mid-fight. White Room progress here once more. Guru, biding his time, does not want to donate the Grav here again to Salty. Chicken Contendies, he uses Transcendence early in the fight before the Grav even comes out. Grav comes up later, but Salty self-destruct. Able to get Pizza Demon and Umte in response, and this is still potentially very good for Chicken Contendies.
The tank play for Contendies is so integral right now. Umte's shatter blocked in that fight, and then a great bomb from Salty, denying the Grav cleanup from Bermuda.
So Chicken Contendies able to bring things right back, even with the advantages that Bermuda was working with to start out the fight, and not a bad turnabout, though they still have a ways to go, 81-43.
I mean, they control the point. They have the Grav advantage here. They have the overall combo advantage, considering that Guru's so far away from Grav. They're in a pretty solid spot. They need to make sure they get value, though, out of this grab. It's so important that they get value out of this grab, especially considering that Pizza Demon has trance. Bermuda could be very aggressive here early before the grab's out.
Contendies, Heart Blue going in, trying to build out the barrier a little bit late. Not going to catch Salty in time before the D-Mech, so Contendies effectively down one early. Gig builds up the shatter mid-fight, immediately drops it, but gives his life mid-shatter here. Heart Blue getting it taken on a ride, and Bermuda going to be flipping this right back. Contendies going to be fighting themselves with about one fight remaining.
There was some clear miscommunication there for Contendies. Salty was extremely deep. The beat came out too late from Zolik. And then in return, they do get the trance, but Heart Blue shattered. So great shatter from keeping the grab out of the fight after Pizza Demon's trance is forced. And now Bermuda control the point, and they have their grab soon. They're in a very, very good position.
Contendies finding a way back, or going through the white room. Harb holding on to the grab as he dives in. Graviton going to be key here. Overtime in progress. Graviton out here from Harb. They're looking for the fall through. Salty dropping bomb right to the backside. Barrier not enough to save Contendies up one. Pizza Demon. Transcendence out. Now 5-on-5. Zolik gets caught by Shu on the other side. The Transcendence doing a lot of work for Bermuda now. As they turn the tables on Contendies, they fight it back. And we are now looking and heading into a round 3.
This should be a round 3. This should be over. Bermuda, they are controlling the point. They have a high energy Zarya. Contendies can't contest. And really what it came down to right there is that they had the better support ults in that fight. OG got beat just in time, an extremely clutch beat. They did lose but keeps everyone else alive, and then Pizza Demon gets trance right after, so the sustain from Bermuda was so strong on that point.
So now we head over into the control center where, again, wouldn't really expect a lot to change from both teams, although as I say that, Contendies is going for something that's been of particular meta in NA as of late, where teams really like running the Mei on here, and it definitely changes their play style a bit.
It does. I mean, realistically, the Mei, it pretty much is entirely dependent on how you work off the wall, especially in ult-neutral fights, where neither team is really working with a lot of ults, like what we see in a mid on control. So we're going to have to watch Salty's wall, see if Contendies can get anything off of it.
I mean, the key here is that you have to drop the wall and immediately find something. So wall comes out. Instead, Salty getting focused immediately, has to ice block. But Gig able to find ultimate web off the charge. Still man advantage Contendies, and this is very, very good for them. Even with Salty going down, this is not bad. They still have the Brigida in reserve, and it's a winnable fight. Gonna be eating a lot of damage here. Same with Shu, and with the just sustained advantage Contendies has, they should be able to overpower Bermuda a bit here, but they have to take it slow.
They do have to take it slow. Gig going down to Guru. He's very highly charged. They have ultimate web back. Guru getting those frags, the focus fire on the point, supposed sitting in main, but it's over. Fight's done.
I'm glad you mentioned focus fire, because you think about the other side for Contendies, most of Bermuda was low, just they weren't able to put things on one single target, where they had a big edge and poke damage in that fight. They just couldn't
Well,
convert.
they were choosing to play passively and use this extra sustain from Buck, from those armor packs, from the Inspire to play the point. But the problem is, it just allowed Bermuda to get so much poke damage when there's no Diva.
Graviton be coming out here early for Contendies. Gig holding on to the shatter. Graviton out here from Bermuda on the other side. Both teams in it. Either has fallen here so far. Shu got to drop the self-destruct middle of the fight. Again, buying a little bit of space. Ultimate though, finally able to isolate Buck from the wall. Contendies down a man. Still trying to move in with the wall isolation, but Bermuda just able to retreat.
And right now, Buck is still down. So Contendies, they can't push. They can't follow up on that. And that was a huge play, catching Buck off the wall. I mean, actually, Salty's wall sort of isolated Buck on his own, and Zolik was afraid to drop the beat because it might have been blocked. So their wall working against them there.
45% here for Bermuda. Contendies looking for a way and still staying on the Mei. Blizzard going to be up as they go into this, but again, difficult to get a good Blizzard off. Something that's more likely to get eaten than not. Salty gonna get isolated here. Brigida in his face, forcing out the ice block, goes for the Blizzard. Blizzard not gonna get eaten, but comes at a cost. Salty gives up his life, went very deep for it, but it's a Vortex. Ultimate Web gonna be taken down in no small part to the Blizzard. Meanwhile, Gig end up flying into the sky here. Ultimate Web.
Where did the grab go?
I don't know.
Where did Heart Blue's grab go?
It wasn't eaten.
Did he flyer it off the map?
I think it went off the map.
I think Heart Blue just yeeted that grab off the map.
I say this, like, I don't really know
where did the grab go? I heard it. It's not in his inventory. It's not in the ult economy anymore. I don't know where is it? It was going to come out.
It's so spooky that we have to pause the game.
I'm a little shocked.
Yeah, I actually, again,
also, these walls for Salty, have not been great.
No,
they have not gotten a lot of value out of this Mei play because when you're playing Mei, you have to be getting good walls, and he has not.
It's done more self-damage than not, I would say. And look, I mean, the problem with Mei is that you're playing Mei more so not even for the mid-fight, right? You're playing Mei for the idea that once you get an advantage, it's really hard to break a Mei coming back in just because of the control you get over the entry points. But I don't really know why he's decided to stay on the Mei as long as he has.
Well, he had Blizzard entering in that fight, so he wanted to stay for the Blizzard. But the problem is like, if you're not getting value out of the Mei even earlier that before you even had Blizzard, I would say the swap. But once I mean, if he has Blizz, I guess he's going to stay. I mean, we have that constant debate about, H key versus Q key.
Yeah.
And there, I think Blizzard is empowering ult. I mean, it did allow the fight to be opened up because it forced pizza damage trance and allowed Gig to get the charge kill. But still risky considering that they haven't been getting enough value out of the Mei, and the time bank ad is against them now as we get into the rest of the map once the pause is over.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a rough thing. Again, it's interesting because you look at other regions, you don't see the Mei come out quite as often, whereas for NA, it's been, I guess it's been in the scrim meta, right, where people are just like, okay, we run Mei a lot here, and some teams very clearly better at it than others, and you talk about him wanting to stay for the Blizzard, I think that's right, but you also think about how that last fight went down for Salty, where he ends up overcommitting really hard just to make the Blizzard happen, and ends up just dying early in the fight.
Ends up dying, but I mean, still setting up the plays enough. Now we're back in, pause done.
Salty.
Chicken Contendies controlling the point.
Also, Salty going to be off the Mei here.
Good shatter.
Ooh, early shatter going to be setting that up. Ultimate Web out super early.
Umte isolated.
Yeah, Bermuda, they can't fight this anymore. This is just a full-on retreat, fight another day. They still are working with an edge, and Gig going very deep.
Gig did a lot in that fight. That was a really, really great play from Chicken Contendies, from Gig in particular. As Bermuda enters the point, drops the shatter, gets 2 down, getting 1 pick early, isolating Umte, and getting that late charge kill.
So Bermuda going to be looking to find a way back in here. Graviton going to be up for Guru, but going up against double support also going to be used more to set the stage.
A lot of damage.
They end up dropping the Grav under heavy pressure right as OG goes down. The health for Bermuda was so low when that Grav came out. I can't help but think that was not the right decision.
No, that was a little bit too late for that. And on top of that, Gig dropping another shatter.
Gig also getting the charge in the spot
dropping
again.
Pizza Demon. By the way, this fight could have been a little bit different if Pizza Demon had that trance, but he was on the ground from the shatter. Zolik investing a very late read after Harblu's grab is eaten, and he dies for it.
Why was Harb even that far forward? Why was Harb even grabbing? None of this makes any sense.
This is Harblu's Zarya right here.
Chicken Contendies now in a really rough spot just because they overextended for no discernible reason.
However, they have to catch Gig, but OG gets sucked into the charge. They force Pizza Demon's trance.
Transcendence coming out, still winnable here for Bermuda. Gig under heavy pressure, gonna fall. Transcendence now fading. Umte dropping the shatter. Buck in a rough spot under very heavy pressure, has to back around. Meanwhile, the focus fire goes to Zolik. He's out of the fight. Bermuda fighting it back, but here comes the self-destruct. Up over the top for Chicken Contendies, gonna catch Pizza Demon. Harblue back in the fight. Transcendence out. Chicken Contendies working their way back in. The self-destruct from Shu finds Suppose, but this is still winnable for Contendies as they come in. Harblue's charged up. He's ready to go.
There's no one left for Bermuda. It's going to be Shu getting cleaned up. Zolik's back in the fight. Here comes the Hammond, but too little, too late. As Contendies picking up the map. And despite Harblue just chunking Gravs away at an alarming rate, the Contendies focus fire and also just Gig's Reinhardt play has been extremely strong on that map. And I think that's really different when I look between Bermuda, when I look between the two teams, is like, yeah, Guru's relatively matching Harb in terms of grabs. Maybe not throwing them away quite as much, but it's relatively matched. But really, the focus fire is just so much better for Contendies right now, and Gig is having an incredible Reinhardt performance.
Yeah, Gig has been playing very, very well. And also, to Harb's credit towards the end is that I feel like there's a mini redemption urge coming in from there. It's like, okay, I might have gone a little far forward. I might have donated a Grav. But towards the very end of that fight, he was still able to get back to the fight in time, built up energy, and had very good cleanup. So it was a sort of classic live by the Harb, die by the Harb moment. But in the end, it was still enough for Chicken Contendies to come back.
I really want to know where the other Grav went on that one fight. I didn't see it on the map. I heard it go out, and I could not find it anywhere. Unless it was a solo Grav off our line of sight, so maybe we just didn't see the Grav. Because it wasn't Eden, but I want to believe that he just threw it off the map.
Yeah, well, the Graviton, I mean, we might never know, okay?
We
This
might
could be,
never know.
if this were a comedy show, this would be something where we'll never know, and then it, like, flips to a scene of, like, school children playing, and the Graviton just comes out of nowhere.
It would have been such
and
a hard moment if he was, like, trying to go for the mid-air grab on someone that was on point, like, and hoping to give him the midi, and it just, like, misses and flies through the window.
It's like, the Graviton's caught the ball in midair. Nope, the Graviton just, it's gone.
But it was gone. But that is Chicken Contendies picking up first map. It's still close. I mean, Bermuda had good moments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't like a 2-0 by any means. It wasn't a steamroll. Really, right now, Bermuda just needs to focus a lot on how they're cleaning up targets. And I think needs to be getting a lot more help and maybe just getting better positions because he's being split and isolated a lot.
I mean, when comparing the two teams, I'd almost feel like Bermuda has been sort of a consistent level of play where Chicken Contendies has been like very high peaks, very low lows overall from what we've seen, where we've seen plays from Chicken Contendies where it's just like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, as I said, we might never find the Graviton, that sort of thing. Meanwhile, you take a look at Bermuda, they've been consistent, but also getting outplayed at points when Chicken Contendies have been on in these fights. So either way, we'll see where things go. Kings Row going to be the next map here, so if things are going to be turned around for Bermuda, has to start here.
I mean, and based it off Contendies' performance right there on Lijiang and especially Control Center, I feel like they have to be feeling relatively confident on Kings Row with Gig's Reinhardt performance, with Hardblue being a Zarya that is extremely, high impact at times, and other times, like you talked about, is non-existent or just makes incredibly perplexing plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's very... You don't know. Some players are inconsistent from day to day. What we've seen from Chicken Contendies here is that it's been inconsistent from fight to fight, which is both good and bad. I mean, it means that you're not having a consistently bad day. It means we don't know what to expect on a given fight.
I definitely don't. I really don't know where to stack up these teams right now. Like I said, I gave the edge to Contendies early. I was impressed with their playing trials, but Bermuda still have had also a very tough schedule. They have some strong players on their team. So really, this is their chance to bring it back, equalize it.
Bermuda going to be on the attack here first, looking to be running a very DPS-heavy setup, setups that we've seen a little bit more frequently nowadays. Very likely to see even more frequently in a new patch. Chicken Contendies, meanwhile, holding with a 3-3. And if this is what Bermuda is running out with, what does Chicken Contendies need to do?
Well, if they're playing this sort of triple DPS, actually it's going to be the triple DPS setup. Realistically, you have to just sustain and try to find a frag when you can. I mean, there's no Xin, or there is a Xin on Bermuda to run out. So getting Pizza Demon would be great. Getting Shu would be great, because there isn't a lot of focus fire right now for Bermuda, considering Suppose is on the Ana. It's actually Bermuda. They're going back, and by the way, Wayfast has been subbed in place of Guru.
Way fast coming in. Umte deciding. You saw him very deep as Hammond. Didn't like what he saw and just swings his way back to spawn.
Not a bad swap, because Bermuda, the triple DPS is a lot stronger against the Xin, considering there's a lot less heals on the field. But with an Ana, there's a lot more sustain.
So Contendies, speaking of the Ana, going to be landing a good Bionade onto the teammates there. Again, just looking to sustain. Bermuda, meanwhile, looking for a way in. And they did lose quite a bit of time because of having the swap. I agree that I think the swap was the right move to play, but it ends up working out in Chicken Contendies' favor because already up a minute.
Yeah, up the minute. Contendies getting close to both the rally and the nano boost here. I imagine they should be looking to go aggressive when they do have that nano boost.
Umte ate a lot of damage. The shield from Wayfast came in just in the nick of time to save him, but it was still pretty tough. It still made it a more unwinnable fight. They have to back out, wait for cooldowns, and that's the power of good focus fire.
It is. The nano boost is up for Suppose. It's out. It's going to be on to Gig. Look at the aggression now from Contendies, picking up Ultimate Web early. He's even force.
Transcendence out, but it's not time to save Ultimate Web here. Hardblue, though, going to fall 5-5. Big shatter in from Gig. Just going to hit the ground, knocking down more than enough for Chicken Contendies. Just roll forward and win the rest of the fight.
And Gig Shatter saving the fight there for Chicken Contendies. Bermuda were looking like they're going to clean up the Grav, considering that Zolik did not have beat. So now equalized for Contendies in terms of they've gotten all their players back for the most part. They can contest the point. They have beat now to be aggressive.
Oh, Harb's going to be coming out here, and they're going to have to beat just to deal with it. Beat comes out early, self-destruct a little bit later. Ends up taking down Wayfast. The beat not enough towards the end. And Chicken Contendies off the combo again. Going to be taking the fight. 2 minutes off the clock, and Bermuda looking absolutely wounded right now.
Contendies doing a very good job of fighting aggressively, building the nano boost as much as they can, and using the sustain against Bermuda. Because the longer the fight runs, the better it is for Bermuda because of the damage from Xin, because of the focus fire from Xin, building Trance, obviously. So Contendies keeping the fight short, allowing On to get max value.
Farb has a decent amount of energy here too. I mean, they can put the Nano on the Gig. Nano Rhyme, very good for breaking through, but you also put it on the Zarya here and just let Harb build another Grav, like basically changing your Nano boost into a Graviton.
Here comes the bomb from Shu. It's in, trying to isolate Contendies, gets nothing so far.
Gig gonna be taken for a ride, but he has Nano Boost right now. Not gonna be eating much damage at all from the pin. Moves forward, drops the hammer, and again, Bermuda finding themselves on the ground, courtesy of Gig.
And that was just a delivering Gig as sort of a tactical Moab into the back line of Bermuda. He's nanoed, he has beat, he gets bubble, all the resources are in Gig, and he turns and drops the Shatter.
Moabs aren't tactical, that's why they're Moabs.
Well, I mean, they can be used tactically in terms of, it's like, let's win the fight.
Yeah, the tactical let's blow up everything at the same time.
Now Bermuda coming back in. They do have the trans grab out for Harb.
Graviton in Contendies, moving forward. Gonna be forced out the transcends from Pizza Demon super early into the fight. Ultimate up
so
again,
deep.
Under pressure, ends up getting slapped midway through, rallying under pressure. Gig, though, isolated as he went in. Bermuda still able to sustain. Good HP moving forward. Buck gonna get caught, and Contendies down 2. It's going to be very hard for them to come back in. Even though they didn't give up a tick before this point, Bermuda, they're making too much space right now.
And that's really the value of Xin there comparatively to the Ana. They couldn't set up the nade. The nade was blocked. It was Eden, one of the two. Then Gig went for the charge, gets isolated.
Oh, they're still going for it. They have boosted. Gig moving. Gets caught. This actually might work out. Contendies coming back in. Just when you think Bermuda has it, Bermuda not paying attention. Contendies come back in and get the first point hold. Oh, that is...
I mean, they had a lot of time to contest. They hadn't given up any ticks yet. They had ults alive, but maybe just not enough players stacked, not enough players ready for Bermuda to stop that recontest. They needed to be aware of it, that Contendies had time. That was an incredibly good recontest from Chicken Contendies.
It was a very good recontest coming back in, but the thing about them moving back in there is that they were never going to have time to get great positioning. Bermuda should have been able to set up for that. I just think that Bermuda checked out from point there. Okay, well, we got the point. Let's focus on second. Well, second doesn't come over if you don't end up taking out first.
Yeah, really good recontest from Contendies. Not great situational awareness from Bermuda, especially when you're controlling a point and there's a natural choke into that point and you have Xin. Your focus fire should be denied. It's a lot stronger. The focus fire of yours is just so much stronger. You can deny a lot of the presence from that recontesting team, and they weren't set up. They weren't prepared at all for Gig to be nanoed and come back in.
No, not in the least. And that's a mistake that you usually don't see teams make. It's very rare to see a successful recontest that late, but in this case, it did happen. And now it puts Bermuda in a very, very tough situation where they have to defend here on first, where luckily for them, they got it to 93.4%, so they have most of first to work with, but it's certainly not ideal because first point holds in Kings Row, they're rare.
Bermuda going to be running this Sombra comp as well for first, which is an extremely tough comp at times to hold first with because a lot of it relies on getting the EMP for second rather than first. Shu going to be on the Sombra now, no Diva in place for Bermuda. And I actually think this is a good swap for them because as of right now, they just haven't been winning the Zarya wars and they haven't been, just winning it the straight up 3-3. Maybe need to swap it up, play to your strengths more.
See how Bermuda ends up playing this here. It's certainly going to be a lot of pressure onto Shu, the build-up EMP, get them in a good spot. But Chicken Contendies, they immediately dive in. Gig under pressure, still healed up. Ultimate up down. The dive-in, successful for Contendies here. Shu only at a mere 40%. Meanwhile, point presence to the Contendies, already one tick up. Umte out of the fight.
I mean, now they're getting staggered. OG, he gets the bubble. They're still in, but it's going to be really tough for Bermuda to contest this point.
Well, it's already 2 ticks down. They've given up all their buffers on him. We're in the first 40 seconds. Way fast, even finding Hard Blue. Very likely.
No, and they're back in.
They are back in. But now, again, they've given up all their buffer. They have an EMP in reserve. Ideally, they don't want to use it here. They want to wait to be at full strength. But
they have to wait to use it because if they trade EMP for this fight and Chicken Contendies can save ults, then it's a free fight for Contendies in the next.
So, still winnable, but all their margin for error gone. Shu, they have to have a very clean EMP fight here, pure and simple.
They do. I mean, they have to have an extremely clean EMP fight here and use no other ults if they want to win.
So, Bermuda. They still have to hold for 2 minutes, 43 seconds. Not a lot to go here from Contendies. Already 2 ticks down. Shu holding in the back.
Now Suppose can't get caught by this, but Shu isn't watching for Suppose. He doesn't get it with the EMP.
But they still get Buck right before. I think they're lucky that they did, that the Transcends doesn't heal him up in time. The EMP ends up being converted into one pick off. Bermuda able to go in a little bit more aggressively, but the problem is for that is that, okay,
look at all these
grab a little bit later.
Bermuda.
they end up investing a lot more than they would have wanted here. Okay, they get gigged, but think about the long game. This is still a little bit rough for Bermuda, even as they win this fight.
They had to use way too many ults. They also, I mean, they got the early pick, but then Umte invests Shatter, and then they invest Grav. Now they have no EMP, they don't have Shatter, they don't have Grav. Contendies are coming back in. Suppose making the swap off of Zen, actually going to Ana, which I think is an interesting play considering that he wasn't even getting very much pressure by Shu.
Bermuda very likely going to have to use both support ults here as Chicken Contendies come in. Early rally coming up. Graviton in for Harbin. Ultimate up down before things invested. Here comes Self-Destruct coming in off the grab. Harb and Salty setting it up. It's going to be more than enough for Chicken Contendies. The engage successful. And again, they just catch Ultima Web out of position early on, and it snowballs from there. Chicken Contendies taking King's Row.
Realistically, though, that it was all ult economy there.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they hadn't got Ultima Web early, it's unlikely. It's very, very unlikely that Bermuda wins that fight because there's just too many ults up for Chicken Contendies. The Bermuda invested far too much in the fight before. You have to have a much, if you're especially using Sombra, ult economy, because it's already 90% in terms of like how important teams can, you know, snowball fights, hold fights, things like that. But EMP is your win condition 99% of the time. Yeah. And so when you use EMP, you can't invest anything else because you need it for the next fight to survive, and they invested far too much.
Yeah, I mean, really what it came down to is, okay, you use EMP, you get one, and then, okay, if you had gotten more damage off that and were able to snowball that into extra kills without investing more, that's fine, but they end up chasing it down and trying to take the 6-on-5. They drop a Grav really late into the fight, and now you've just ruined everything, right? Where you're in a situation where you have to hold all of first. You can't just be slightly trading out. You have to be getting basically perfect trades to make that happen, and it didn't happen.
No, it didn't. They just weren't getting the value they needed out of Sombra. Sombra is a hero where you are either getting EMPs very fast and getting a lot of value out of them, or you are losing.
Yeah.
And those are the only two alternatives for the most part when you're playing Sombra, especially in the 3-3 matchup. So have to get a lot more value there.
Well, this is going to be our first half. Chicken Contendies up 2-0 here over Bermuda, looking to gain in strength as the series has gone on. Can Bermuda bring things back? Is there any hope? We're going to find out after the break.